So this is Ile de Rome. It is just beautiful. This is absolutely my favourite way of exploring a new place, is going on a little cycle ride. Perfect way to end the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'll give you all of what I've got. The fancy finds, baby, I have not. Just gonna love you. Yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you, babe. Cross my heart and hope to die.
Bonjour tout le monde. It is a blowy morning on Ile de Rome, and this is one of the reasons why we come into port, actually, because we knew that the weather was going to be pretty bloody average for a few days. This is just the beginning of it. Weather forecast this morning showed that parts of France had 3 months worth of rain overnight, so there's been some pretty weird weather, but I suppose that's the world nowadays. So we're here for probably 5 to 6 days now, Terysa?
Yeah.
One of the wonderful things about France is its variety. No two regions are the same. However, there is one constant, which is their outdoor markets. Market day is by far the best way to get a glimpse into the local community, not to mention a really fun way to do your shopping. There's always fresh fruit and vegetables, as well as knickknacks, perhaps some souvenirs, clothes, and also, obviously, fishmonger, or perhaps somewhere to get a roast chicken.
So what have we got?
We've got few legs.
A roast chicken. We have a roast chicken.
We've got fruit, vegetables. This little village had all the ingredients of a typical French community. The market, of course, as well as a bar, sweet narrow streets with a couple of shops or restaurants, a pharmacy, a mini market, as well as the obligatory boulangerie, selling fresh bread, delicious cakes and pastries.
So another one of our little jobs this morning is to tension the alternator belt. I didn't do it before we left, actually. Why didn't I do it? I don't know. I thought it was okay. I ran the engine up, but under load it squeaks a little bit, and it should be checked every single time. I should have run it under load, but there you go. That's the way we roll. Now this should... No, I'm not going to say anything. See, there's a plastic cowl here. Mm-hmm. It's underneath here. Yeah. You can tension the belt by knot. You haven't got to remove anything, and that's just black rubber where the belt slipped a little bit and it rubs. Yanmar alternators run on. There's double bracket. So literally, I put my finger in there and I can move it. And this is something that is just experience. I normally at the point of maximum flex try and allow it a centimetre of flex, or it squeaks. So the only reason I'm using this is just to apply leverage, but I don't want to use metal to apply leverage to an entry block. So literally I'm just stretching that out a little bit. So basically, the alternator is on 2 separate bolts. At the bottom of this alternator, there's like a hinge that moves back and forth, and this just tightens it. So basically, the tension of the alternator can be moved that way and that way.
Yeah.
So if you want to put a new alternator belt on, you pull everything in, but then you have to tension it. But it slips and it stretches with time. So the idea is that you kind of retension your belt.
I see.
Yes, better.
Ile de Rome is a large, flat, sandy island on the Atlantic coast of France, perfect for exploring by bike. This is where having folding bikes on board really comes in handy. We set off rather aimlessly as the tourist office was closed. Whether because of COVID or not, we didn't know, but we didn't have a cycle map. However, we found a sandy footpath to follow around the coast, and after a while we stumbled across the actual cycle path, which turned out to be far more comfortable to ride on.
Today we are off on a cycling adventure. Perfect day for it. Bit of a breeze, but that's okay. Gorgeous and sunny. And certainly the next 2 days are going to be like windy, rainy, horrible weather for exploring. So we are taking the opportunity while we can to have a little look around the island. And it is beautiful. It is gorgeous. It reminds me of Ile de Ré, which we haven't shown you guys yet, but Nick and I have been to before. It's very similar. Flat, lots of lovely little villages and lots of cycling paths, which I love. And yeah, so let's see what this place has to offer.
So
after cycling rather aimlessly for the last hour, we finally figured out where we are.
well, we've gone a long way, haven't we?
Well, we've gone from here. Are you looking at the map?
Oh, only there, yeah.
Yeah, we've gone from here to here. But as you can see, there was no like official cycling lane.
Right.
So we've just gone off piste. But now we're here, and we can take a proper cycling lane all the way down to maybe here.
This is absolutely my favourite way of exploring a new place, is going on a little cycle ride. It's not usually this easy. Usually you're battling with the traffic and trying to figure out a way, but this island has just all your cycle paths mapped out for you. Just follow the numbers.
I'll take you away to where the sun shines so bright, so bright. You can stare at the stars at night. You can tell me anything you like.
Alright, so what are you doing now?
I'm doing skip scoping the hull in a marina. So listen, can you do me a favour? That boat in front of us, they're on deck, so if they start their engines or anything, because I'm going to be on the
You'll hear it.
on the fairway side. Well, I won't, because I'm deaf as a post with this on.
Alright, well, I don't know how, unless you want me to jump in the water and like tap you on the shoulder, I don't know what you want me to do about
Well, you
it.
can. You'll be gesticulating.
If you can't hear the engine, how can you hear me?
because you've got a squeakier voice than an engine.
Right. How's the hull looking?
Surprisingly good, actually, babe.
So this is Ile de Rome. It is just beautiful. We went for a little cycle ride the other day, and yeah, the interior of the island and the beaches on the other side are just so gorgeous. And this little marina behind me is lovely. Very well protected, not many people, good Wi-Fi, all the things that we like. It's tidal, so you can only get in and out, I think, a couple of hours either side of high water, but that's okay, that's doable. And we've just had a really, really lovely stay on this gorgeous little island. We're only about 10 miles from La Rochelle, very nearby, and it's just been a wonderful few days here. So tomorrow we are heading north. We're going to Sabdelon, and about 32 miles from here, I believe, and we actually need to sit down and do a bit of a passage plan for that, because We have to work with tide, we have to work with the weather, and there's also some, we had to actually sail around Ile de Ré, another island. So yeah, we're going to sit down and work out the passage plan for that, leaving first thing tomorrow morning, so better get on to that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a bit of a passage plan for tomorrow. I like to use Windy, the app Windy, because I just feel like it presents information in a very easy way. You can choose which model you use. So I always go for the Euro model, but you can obviously reference that against all the other models just to make sure that they're all basically saying the same thing. The Euro model tends to be the most accurate. So at about 7 o'clock in the morning, we are not going to have any wind whatsoever. We're going to have 2 knots apparently. And then throughout the day, it's going to change direction and change strength. So we have to obviously be aware of that. And of course, throughout the day, we're moving. So we're going from here and we'll go around the west coast of Ile de Ré, which is this island here. And we'll end up in Sable d'Olonne, which is just here. So by about 11 o'clock, we'll probably be around here somewhere. As you can see, by about 1 o'clock, we end up with northwesterlies. They start off quite light and they increase in strength throughout the afternoon. So obviously we're going largely in a northwest direction, so when the northwesterly winds start to come through, then that's going to be a bit of a problem for us. So we really want to get to Sable d'Olonne before that happens, and that brings me on to the time that we can leave the marina. So I don't have the charts on my iPad.
Can I say something?
Yes. Come here. I knew that you get dragged into this.
Where's Sable d'Olonne?
Here.
Right. So the difference you've got between, because we've got to go from here, yeah?
Yeah.
Where are we? We're here?
Yeah.
So our 2 passage plans, we could go inside and out,
Yeah.
or we could go outside and out,
Yeah.
right? If we go outside, by the time we get to this point here, right? If we've got like 10 knots, we could actually head straight in. Yeah?
Yes.
So the passage plan, rather than going there in a straight line, what you do is you go to there when there's light winds. If the winds pick up, you go north.
Yes.
You'll get a point of sail.
Yeah.
And then what you'll do, if those winds pick up, you should get some protection from that kind of like spit of land. So you just hug the coast to get into Sable d'Olonne.
Well, I think that to get a sailing angle at this point, I mean, this is at like 6 p.m. So let's look at the 1 p.m.
That's
yeah,
1.
This is 1. So to get a sailing angle here, that's coming northwest, west-northwest, we would really have to be going north.
And that's what we would do. So
Well,
basically you go as far north as you can.
But babe, that adds another like, that would add at least another 10 miles onto it. And by the time we've gone out there, we might get in before these northwesterly winds come in. I have already looked up the time of high water tomorrow. We have high water coming in at 7:11 in the morning, which is perfect. So as you can see from this chart, that's where we are. You know, there is a buoyed channel and it dries at low water, which we've seen today and over the last few days. We came in at about mid-tide, and at mid-tide there was 3 meters over the sill. The high water is at 11 minutes past 7. So you can see that, I mean, if we left at say 7 o'clock, then, or maybe even 6 o'clock, then it's 32-mile passage to Sable d'Olonne, and going at about 5 knots, we would get there by, hopefully by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is the point at which the northwesterly winds start to fill in. So that is our challenge for tomorrow, to get to Sable d'Olonne before those northwesterly winds become too problematic for us. So that's tomorrow's fun and games. Perfect way to end the day.
So we've had 4 pretty fantastic days on Ile d'Oléron. It's been pretty amazing to get out of La Rochelle after all that time and kind of find a coastal community that's not quite open for season. So it's nice. There's a kind of like a sparsity to it that I find very different after La Rochelle. Anyway, we've had 4 lovely days here. We need to move on tomorrow to get to Sable d'Olonne before the weather closes in. And Sable d'Olonne is famous for many things, especially yacht racing and yacht builders. Privileged catamarans are there, and so we'll head up there. And we've got some bits to do today. We've got to do some boat jobs, and there's a lot of big chandlers there, so just little boring and fiddly jobs. One of them actually involves the holding tank. So we'll get on with that. Anyway, that's the Ile d'Oléron, our first time here. Thoroughly recommend it. It's beautiful, and yeah, enjoying being back in France. Anyway, that's the end of our episode. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.